Good morning. Sunday was Trinity Sunday, and this week of readings in our lectionary is all about Trinity. Today's reading, for instance, is from the Old Testament, from Genesis, and Abraham meets God, and God bestows on him and his wife a promise of the gift of a child in the future. Why is this a Trinitarian reading? Well, Abraham meets God in the form of three people. All very strange. And then brings them in and washes their feet and looks after them and all that thing. So it's a three-person God, a triune God. And the Methodist Church is a Trinity-based church. I preached on Sunday and sort of ducked the issue really about the Trinity because the reading very much focused on going out and making disciples of all people, and we looked at the way we might go out and relate to people and talk to people in our modern England. I also get worried about how the Trinitarian doctrine has been used through the centuries for control and for power, and to sort of argue that some people are heretical and push them out, or control people's thinking and the way it happens. I sort of find that frustrating, especially in a world where we're asking people to look at the Bible and say, what does it mean to you today? How does it feel? How does it make you think? And actually to put stifling doctrines in place, which is basically that God is Father, Son and Holy Spirit, and they're all equal, is quite difficult. The reality is we don't all think like that. We all don't see God as absolutely equal in three parts, perhaps because we experience one part more strongly than others and things like that. I use a tripod for my camera work quite often. Actually, when you look at it like this, it looks like it's only got two legs, but actually it stands up on three. It's a really stable platform. But if we're on unstable ground or uneven ground, we can change one of the legs and tweak it and move it, and it can wrap round things, all sorts of different ways of doing it. Still got three legs, and it's still a very stable platform, but sometimes in order for something to stand up or to keep it stable, we have to adjust the shape and length of some of the legs. But arguably, talking like that is heretical. And hundreds of years ago, people would have been cast out or even judged or even burnt at the stake for thinking wrongly of the Holy Trinity, a control mechanism. And so in many ways, I get that we need to have balance. I get that we need to have stability. I get that we have to have some common understanding sometimes when we get into deep places. But just like Sunday, you read a reading that has a reference that Trinitarians think is important to Trinity, and you read so much more in the passage. And I just feel like we should be encouraged to look at the passage differently, not and say, well, what does it mean to us today? And I don't read a big thing about Trinity in this passage. I read that Abraham welcomed the strangers in three parts into his home, washed their feet, fed them, looked after them, welcomed them in there. He didn't know who they were, and then found out that it was God in three parts and that he would be blessed because of it. So my suggestion today is that we don't get ourselves bogged down so much in Trinitarian thinking, but actually look to our book, the Bible, and hear all the words of grace and love and fellowship and welcome that come out in these passages, because surely we're better off spending our time focusing on that than arguing about the minutiae of how a doctrine works. So God bless you. Go out in the world and just be God's people. Be fun, be friendly, be welcoming, and let's actually do the job that Christ sent us out to do.